Hey everyone, this is DBK here with your MMA of the day. Quick hits. I had a couple topics I was thinking about talking about today, but then obviously there's only one thing to really talk about. It's all the injuries that came down the UFC 153 card on 13 October down in Brazil. Just got really devastated today in the course of about an hour and a half maybe, as we saw both Rampage Jackson first, and then pull out his fight with Glover Teixeira, and then Jose Aldo shortly thereafter pull out of his fight with Frankie Edgar, and it's just become too much of a trend with a lot of the UFC big cards. You get your hopes up. This card went from being one of the amazing cards of the year to right now it's pretty much in shambles. I have a few ideas how it can be saved. We'll get into those here in a second. But I mean, it's just becoming such a commonplace. You look back at UFC 149, 147 was victimized by injuries when fights started getting shuffled around. I mean, this is just 146 had so much movement on it that some of the great fights that you expected on there. Just been all summer. It looked like of course, 151 got canceled because of this. I mean, Dana White, it has to be a hell of a day. I mean, on top of that, he had an injury at 152 where luckily it wasn't any of the major players. It was just Vladimir Matyashenko, still having to scramble to get a fill in for him and get that card fixed up real quick on top of all this. As of this recording, no word on how they're going to fix this, but I just have to think, I'll look at some of the key options. I think one of the things UFC has going for it, one, is that we're, just over a month out, so it won't be the end of the world to find a short notice replacement fight. I think UFC has to seriously consider, find out how long all those going to be out. This is the um, fourth time that he has pulled out of a fight or postponed a fight in the UFC, and he hasn't been in the UFC that long. He pulled out a fight with Josh Crispy, then he uh, postponed his fight with Chad Mendez. He postponed the fight with Eric Cook or Cook here back in it was originally supposed to be in June or actually July. I mean, that was the 149 card, and now he pulls out of here. This is four times that he's burned the UFC. This is really holding this guy back. And I mean, he defended his title last in January. I think UFC, especially with Frankie Edgar down here and willing to go to featherweight. I think they really look at making a interim featherweight title here and putting Edgar in with either Ricardo Lamas. It would be the ideal case. I mean, the story came out the other day that UFC had offered Lamas the title shot against Aldo first when Cook pulled out, um, and then they decided to go another way with Edgar. So I just have to think that an Edgar Lamas fight makes some kind of sense. Korean Zombie's out with a shoulder injury. Some other guys that they could have fostered along, like Harkan Diaz, he's out for right now. So I mean, that's a fight that could step in on this card. It's not going to have the most appeal to the Brazilian fans, but they're fight fans. They'll get over it. There's still a lot of Brazilian talent on this card. The other one that's a little harder to fix, in my opinion, right away, is the Glover Teixeira. The first one name that pops to mind, clearly Stephan Bonner, but Bonner doesn't. Bonner only wants big fights right now. He doesn't want. He's stated openly he doesn't want to be a stepping stone anymore. He was a stepping stone for John Jones. Several other fighters on their way up. He's tired of that role. Also, he's going to pass on that. I mean, I think the fight they could get Bonner into is if Anderson Silva stepped up and wanted to headline this card, which would be, something. I wouldn't, not going to go screaming and telling my friends to drop down $50 to watch Anderson Silva fight Stephan Bonner, but it would be something. The other option is Henan Barrow, the interim bantamweight champion. I haven't heard anything about him being injured coming out of his fight with Uriah Faber. I think him versus McDonald there at 135, great fight. Mike, heck, they could go Mike Easton. They have a couple options there to fit them in. Just be, solidify it, have a title fight on there. You get the Brazilian fans happy. I got a little away from Glover to share here for a second. I think his best option is probably Ryan Jimmo. The Canadian scored 7-second knockout. Guy's on a long winning streak. Glover's only got one UFC fight. Jimmo's got one UFC fight. They've both been around the game for a long time. So hey, get Jimmo. Hopefully he can step in there. Hey, you're guaranteed to have a prospect coming out with some good momentum on the backside of that, so that makes a ton of sense. Another name throw out there, even though kind of want to say I remember hearing that he might be injured towards the end of the year, but Little Nog, hey, here's a guy, he's experienced veteran, get him in there either Teixeira or heck maybe they can entice Shogun over, they can do their rematch and really throw down, but one way or the other, just been a rough day. It's days when you say Dana White's got the best job in the world, then there's days like this, and it's tough. And I'm sure that they'll save this card and make it pretty respectable. Still, like I said, there's just too much talent in that country in Brazil, and all you hear these guys in interview after interview, they all want to fight on these Brazilian cards in front of their home crowd. Well, now some of them are gonna have to put their money where their mouth is and step up and save this. But that's my take for the day on the injuries with a quick hit here. We'll see you tomorrow and hopefully have a little better news and a happier message. Okay, bye.